Good afternoon, everyone. It's Queen Evangeline, and today we're back with another video. It's a very informal sit down, but today's the 20th of March, and it's exactly 2 days before the next court date. And I thought I'd share some of my current feelings and views. Well, as much as I would like to speak a whole lot about this, I've also been trying to keep quiet about it. But to a certain extent, if I keep quiet about it, I'll also just be doing injustice to myself and to others in my position. So, let's get right into it. So, the reason why I need to be in court is because I had opened quite a protection order. So for those of us who do not know how this works, I also didn't know how this actually works or takes place. So what happens is, if you apply for a protection order, you get a temporary protection order. So you need to get a legal representative, and the individual which you have applied the protection order for against rather also need to get legal representative, and then they would then argue in court, and then based on the arguments that the legal representative then argue, then either the protection order gets being made permanent. It gets made permanent. They decide whether it gets to be permanent or not. So I applied for protection order last year in October, and on 2 occasions where I had to go to court, the perpetrator did not pitch. So it turns out that the order hadn't been issued or summoned. So many a times we hear of cases like these where the order isn't issued immediately, or there's some kind of delay, there's some kind of issue, and I think that it just puts us women really at risk. Basically, your life is in danger, and for some reason, either the court or the police, or there's just some delay, some problem that needs to be sorted out or addressed. And that's why in some cases, if a woman applies for a protection order and it's not issued, she gets killed. And many a times we get killed by our intimate partners. So it isn't there is those cases where you might get attacked, or you might get assaulted or raped by a stranger, but many a times gender-based violence or rape, assault, the trauma that you experience as a woman may very well have been incited by your intimate partner, and this is something that we hear a lot. And so it's not necessarily a stranger, but many times it's your intimate partner. So you might get a protection order and it's not issued, in the very next day the woman has died. So that delay needs to be addressed. Furthermore, going to court is another experience. Every few days before I need to go to court, I get anxious, naturally so, but I'm someone who suffers from anxiety, so my anxiety just escalated to the point where I got sick, and I decided this the third opportunity, the third date when I needed to appear in court, I decided to go to the doctor because I couldn't eat or anything. And when I got to the doctor kept asking me if I was depressed, and I just said no, it's anxiety, and I've been on anxiety meds ever since. So the court is a very cold place, literally. You get in there, people aren't really friendly, and I'm not saying that they need to be warm and friendly at all times, but I think to a certain extent, maybe it's a working environment, maybe they're desensitized to what they deal with daily. Because in my time that I've spent in court, I would walk in there and we go to the gender-based violence court, and you'd literally be surrounded by victims, literally surrounded by people, women who are beaten to a pulp, women who are beaten black and blue. And also what I do not like is also the fact that before you even before it is your turn to go up, you sit and wait your turn, and you literally sit in the presence of the perpetrator. They're so close to you that they can touch you. So you don't know how long you're going to be there. You could be there for 2 hours, you can be there for 4, but as long as you are there, you're going to be in the presence of your perpetrator. If that isn't intimidating, I don't know what is. So a little bit of background into this whole scenario. So I had been in a toxic relationship, and if you have been in a toxic relationship, you would know that it's very difficult to leave a relationship like that, and it would require intense therapy, which I'm currently going for. With that being said, it took a very long time for me to leave that relationship, and people would ask you, why didn't you leave? And unless you're in that situation, you probably feel otherwise. For me, speaking from experience, for me being in a toxic relationship, my mother would see the signs, and she tried to warn me, and she always tried to encourage me to leave. But me being as stubborn and naive as I was in that rut. I was in that box, and being in that box, I felt like this is normal, this is perfectly normal, this is a safe space, this is acceptable, this is the norm, this is what love is, whereas it was not. So just like how when you experience the loss of a loved one to death, you go through 5 stages of grief. I think leaving a toxic relationship also has different various stages involved. Once I left the toxic relationship, I'm standing on the outside looking into the box now, and I'm like, okay, so that is what I settled for. Okay, that was not cool. That was not love. That was not what that is unacceptable. Totally unacceptable for someone. Totally unacceptable from an intimate partner. And it took a very long time for me, because I needed to start trusting myself, because now once you're out, now the fog has been removed, and now you grieve. And when I say grieve, in the sense that with regards to my experience, I think that I was grieving, and sometimes I still feel like I am still grieving, because I felt like this is what I settled for, and now I need to trust myself, in the sense that I wouldn't go back, or wouldn't accept that again. I wouldn't accept the situation again. I need to trust myself to know that I'd make better decisions, that when there's a red flag, that I would leave, that I wouldn't think that, okay, I could fix this person, because you can't fix someone who doesn't want to be fixed. You can't fix someone who doesn't see any wrong in their actions. And I think many of us, like especially with us women, someone like me who is very altruistic in nature, we think that I could help this person, I could be there for them, and I could help them transform and become better. But I can't. You can't. And so I think there was a lot of grieving involved in that process, in intense therapy. Once I left the relationship, I thought I was fine, up until I got into another relationship about a year and a few months afterwards. Okay, so this was a year and a few months afterwards, and I thought that I'd recovered and that it was fine. 3 months into this new relationship, and I had a breakdown. I cracked, and I was beside myself. It was like I was a shell. That was the shell of who I was. And it was an eye-opener for me, because you don't realize how the impact a toxic relationship has on you until you come to accept that I was in a toxic relationship. These are the consequences. These are the red flags, and you need to be able to grow from that, and to grow as a person as well. And up until now, I'm still suffering from anxiety and trying to deal with that as well. And it's difficult to be in a relationship with someone if you're dealing with like a mental illness such as anxiety and so forth, because you feel like you're a burden, and then now the person that you're in a relationship with needs to now carry that type of a burden with you. But yeah, right now I feel as a person that I need to would like to rekindle my relationship with God first and foremost. And I think I fell off the wagon at some point, and I'm trying to get back to that point where God is the center of anything and everything, and that He's not only there in an emergency case, but through everything and anything. And it takes so much strength. I can't tell you how every morning you wake up and people will say every morning you wake up, you have a choice and a chance, a choice to make a difference, to make positive choices, to decide that you want better for yourself. Yes, we can do that, but it takes a whole lot of strength, that surpasses human understanding. I think that every day I get up, and even though I still shed tears, because I'm still trying to understand why I needed to go through that, and I'm waiting for that moment where God reveals, okay, you had to go through A and B for C to happen. And I'm beginning to understand that every day that I wake up, I remember at one point where I contemplated suicide, and I didn't really want anybody to know, because firstly I don't like someone to feel like pity for me, but at the same time I didn't want to feel like a burden, because given what I have went through, it's difficult for my family also to respond to me or to try and support me. They want to support me, but they're not sure how, because they're not given the tools to do so. And I think that as I said in one of my previous videos, that thing like the aspects such as therapy and counseling should be freely available to everyone, because we have young ladies like me in a marginalized society living in a relationship, living in the very same house with someone who abuses her, who thinks that this is perfectly normal, and who refuses to leave that home. And these type of resources are not available to them. So as I said, these type of resources should be available freely, because it is incredibly difficult to go through this healing journey without some form of help, professional help. I think that each day that I wake up, and even though I wake up and I'm shedding a few tears, I think that I've gotten to the point where I understand that God is giving me the strength to get through the day, because honestly I can't I'm unable to get through it the day or even face the day without God's a God-given strength. And I don't think that I'm deserving of it, but God keeps on giving me the mercy and the grace to go through that. And as I sit here and ponder over what's going to happen over the next 2 days, I've gotten to the point where I feel like there's a bit of anxiety, but I've gotten to the point where I feel like I'm gonna walk into the courtroom and I'm just gonna let God have His way, whether it goes in my direction or not. I'm not gonna question it, but I'm just gonna trust God. I'm gonna trust God to lead this way, and I am a bit I'm not unsure, but to a certain extent, I feel like I should be fighting. I should be fighting or more advocating for women who are in my position, because ultimately this is a war. This is a pandemic on its own, and I can't afford to keep quiet about it. I could have been bashing this guy. I could have been bad mouthing him. But with the decency that I still have left in me, I'm trying to just advocate and educate women out there. I'm not gonna lie and say that I wasn't angry at him. I was, and to an extent I still am, because he showed no remorse whatsoever. And even though I feel like I'm trusting God, there's a part of me that wants justice. There's a part of me that wonders why men like him are still on the street. How do you rape someone and you're still allowed to walk on the street? How do you live with yourself? And I'm just trusting that God will lead the way. Like in the Bible, we learned that God says vengeance is mine, and so I'm just gonna trust God to lead the way. I might not have the answers I might not have these answers immediately, but I know that someday I'll have the answers to all my whys. Why did this happen? Why did I have to go through this? What was this trying to teach me? What was the C to the A and B? So I'm just gonna trust God to lead the way. But I will give you guys an update on Wednesday. But for those women who are in my position, who have been affected by gender-based violence, who have been raped, who have been assaulted, I want to say to you that the fight isn't over, and we need to keep fighting. We need to keep praying. We need to keep having the faith, and we need to stand together, because clearly the system favors the perpetrator, and we need to overrule that system. We need to overrule and that conclusion. We need to keep fighting, and don't ever allow your voice to go quiet. Your voice, ultimately in this case, is your weapon. And you as a woman, it takes so much strength, an unbelievable amount of strength to get yourself out of a toxic situation, or to have been survived, to be a survivor. Ultimately, you're not a victim. You are a survivor, having gone through everything that you've gone through and remaining standing, even though sometimes you feel like collapsing or falling apart. Even though that happens, even though there are days where you feel like if you're coming and going, if you're crying, there are those days that occur like that, and will probably happen again in the future. But the very next day, a few moments after that, even, you just continue to pick yourself up, to dust yourself up, and you move forward. And that makes you so strong, and that makes you a survivor. So I want to say to you today that your voice is your weapon, and don't give up, keep fighting. Remember that you're a survivor and we have a mission to complete. And even though we may not have the answers immediately, we need to keep fighting, because we're going to become winners. We are going to be winners at the end of the day. At the end of the tunnel, there's going to be light. Even though weeping may during the night, joy comes in the morning. So let's keep fighting. Much love to you guys.